This is Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word, love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shanti from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And the two videos I want to highlight today are on TikTok with this lady called Bianca Graulau. I might have said her last name wrong, but she did two very interesting videos. And I wanted to touch on this because I saw one about Hawaii not too long ago. And it's funny because now I see a video of her. She's talking about what's happening in Hawaii and Puerto Rico as it pertains to people coming from America, specifically Edomites, okay, coming over into their country and buying up their buildings and their lands and turning them into lucrative businesses where they can make money, but at the same time, it displaces the native people. So these two videos are short, and we'll let them play, and then we'll interject with some scripture. We'll see how the Spirit flows. So this is the first one that's going to talk about Puerto Rico and Hawaii.
Okay, so we need to talk about it. Is tourism perpetuating colonialism in places like Hawaii and Puerto Rico? Because I'm in the Hawaiian island of Oahu right now, and I've seen beautiful beaches packed with tourists. But just a few steps away, you see this. And most of the houseless population here in Hawaii is made up by Native Hawaiians. And you also see things like this because some Native Hawaiians believe what's happening today can be traced back to the illegal overthrow by the US and to Native Hawaiians being stripped of their land. There's a lot of literature about this in the Caribbean and how tourism could be a pathway to continued colonial servitude. But the same question could be asked in Hawaii. Because just like in Puerto Rico, tourism has created a service economy. And when I hear people say, you need our tourism dollars, your economy thrives on it, the question is, who's thriving? Because salaries for natives in the tourism industry are not keeping up with home prices. I've spent my time here interviewing Native Hawaiians, and I'll have a complete story for you soon.
Yeah. She said things have been unfair since the illegal overthrow of both of these governments. Okay, in which, especially in Hawaii or Oahu, where she's at, and it's also happening in Maui. Okay, I don't know if you all keep up with AMTV with Christopher Green. Okay, but that dude headed Bitcoin rich, and he bought a huge multi-million-dollar property over there in Maui. And when you watch a lot of his videos, he's pretty much telling you the who's who of people have moved over to Hawaii as well. Jeff Bezos has moved to Maui. I think Mark Zuckerberg moved to Maui. And these are like big time billionaire. Some other crypto, he said a few crypto billionaires bought multi-million-dollar homes over there. And see, you got all these guys coming in from America, buying up all this land for housing, all this land for agriculture, and it's kicking and it's displacing the natives to the side. Okay? And so let's get a scripture where it talks about about these riches gotten by deceit. Ecclesiasticus, sometimes referred to as Sirach 10 and 8. And it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, in this story circumstance, land of native people, okay? It says the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Okay. And according to Job 9 and 24, if the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, okay, that means the wicked have to be in a position where they can get this land. All right. And they've gotten it by their bogus treaties, uh, and their corrupt laws. And because of this reason, this is why you have a huge exodus of people from the states to Hawaii and Puerto Rico. And now these countries are being totally regentrified. Okay. And so now we're going to go to another video, which she has done on her channel, which is further up. And it's this one: tax breaks in Puerto Rico. So let's get this one.
Ever wonder why rich people move to Puerto Rico, pay less taxes, and live on the beach?
There are a lot of videos like this and I don't usually respond, but this is a big creator with a very large audience, so I want to provide the context that was missing from her video. I want to show you the other side, what local communities say this influx of wealthy people is doing to them. Some Puerto Ricans have been getting letters like this, where an investor buys their whole building and tells them they have to move out because he wants to do something more profitable with the building. I know this because I've interviewed them. This is a woman in her 70s who was hoping to spend the rest of her days in the apartment she was living in her town, but she had to move out after an investor bought the building, and then she had a hard time finding a place she could afford. And it's just that some Puerto Ricans cannot compete with the money coming in. In this article from the New York Times, they interviewed a man who owns his house. He was mowing the lawn in front of his house, and he pretended to be a gardener when investors came up to him because he gets harassed so much to sell his house. He says they give him a blank check and tell him to write whatever he wants on it. And when I make these videos, some of you tell me this is happening everywhere. But imagine that on top of that, in your state, a law passed that gave a tax break only to people moving in. That didn't apply to you, who was born there and has been living there. So on top of the uneven playing field that already exists, because in Puerto Rico, wages are much lower than in a lot of the states, on top of that, the people moving in have a tax break that locals don't. I have 2 videos about this if you want to learn more, and the idea is not that you walk away opposing these tax breaks. For these videos, I talk to people who support and defend the tax breaks. The idea is that you have all the information so that your followers not only know how they can benefit, but also...
Okay, let's get Isaiah 10 and 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And as she just mentioned, these tax breaks, these low, what do they call those? Property value taxes. All these things benefit people who are moving in, but they do not benefit the native people who've been living there for whether it be 2 years, 20 years, or 70 years. You know what I'm saying? These rules don't apply to the native people. They only apply to folks who are moving in, and they are predominantly Edomites. Okay? And see, this is why Esau, bad Uncle Esau, is hated around the world. Okay? You got these folks setting up their paradise in people's backyards. And it's gotten to the point where now the people who originally lived there, they can't even... How is it that you're going to be poor in your own house, in your own land? How is it that you can be homeless in a place where you lived? It makes no sense, but this is what's happening. Okay? And see, this matches up with Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, where it speaks of Wisdom of Solomon 2:6. It says, Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. What's the good things? Their blessing, using the creatures, these people, for their own use, exploiting them for the service industry and making money for them, while the woman says these salaries don't keep up with the price of living that's there in Hawaii and in Puerto Rico. Okay. And it says that let me go to let me skip to verse 9. It says, let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. All right. And the tokens for bad Uncle Esau is their own little personal paradises, their own little resorts, their own little condos and vacation spots. Okay. While you got people on, you got the people of Japhet, all right, and our fellow tribesmen, Ephraim, all homeless and destitute on their homeland, on one of their homelands. Hey, man, bad Uncle Esau making a killing using that property as an Airbnb, all right, and they're stupid to no length to try to get this land. You heard what that lady said. He gets harassed so much for his house. These people leave him a blank check, and tell him to write whatever price he wants to write down. Now, whoever these people are, they gotta have some serious money if they're telling him to write whatever number he wants. And see, as I said before, this is why people are starting to hate these Edomites. Gotta go to Obadiah 1 and 2. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And see, this man is greatly despised by people around the world because, as we read earlier, he don't keep it at home. All right. He removeth his neighbor's borders. He calls lands after his own names, according to the book. I believe that's the book of Psalms. Let me just make sure that's right. It can be Psalm or Job. Land, own, name. Yep, it was in Psalm. Actually, let me just read that too. Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So even after doing this, okay, they are still forwarding their affliction by kicking people out of their own homes, strictly for profit. Okay, it says, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because you got to be a very prideful man to come into somebody's home and offer them money to buy the building and the land, and then just be like, okay, you can get the fuck out now. I'm going to do something better with this and make some money. As I mentioned earlier, while these guys are thinking about making beachfront properties and vacation homes and letting these things be used for Airbnbs and make a 6-figure income. All right, the native people are going to be ass out, homeless. And as we read in, I believe that's Ecclesiasticus in a previous sit down, it says the chief thing for life. It's in the Apocrypha. Let's just go straight to that. Okay. Ecclesiasticus 29 and 21 says the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. As he is getting to the point where these people who are native to the land no longer have a house. All right. And these folks are like, she interviewed that one Ephraimite mommy. She's 70 years old, about to be homeless in her own land. This is why this guy has to be taken out the way, because his prosperity, I've noticed that his prosperity means that everybody else suffers, especially if you are an Israelite. I mean, he don't give a damn about the other nations, even his own people, but especially Israelites. And see, that goes hand in hand. See, whenever you hear about these rich investors, these rich Edomite investors being prosperous, just know that at the same time, somebody is being exploited. And that's why Yahweh Shem Yahushai has to move this man out the way and set up one that is more profitable. Because under this guy's rule, hey, as long as he keeps enlarging his desire, as long as he keeps making a profit, okay, it's always going to come at the price of somebody else. So that's all I want to say on that. I hope you all were edified. Until the next time, we're going to say Shalom.